Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy TT, aka Black Sora, aka Chief Hakoda in the flesh, and we are back again with another video for y'all. So look, 2K25 is right around the corner, and the day that we're recording this is the day we're supposed to be getting news for my career in the builder, so I figured I'd break down what build I'm going to be going into 2K25 with. If you haven't guessed it already, it's going to be something similar to the 683 level threat build. Obviously, we don't know what type of animations and badge points will be available at every height in the game, but there's concepts that will remain in the game just because at the end of the day, 2K is basketball, and the best thing you can do is create something that suits your playstyle. So with all that being said, make sure y'all leave a like on the video and sub up if you're new to the channel, and let me know in the comments if you guys are starting to get excited for the new game or not. With all that being said, I'm not going to waste any more of y'all time with my yapping. Let's get straight into it. We're going to break this down section by section. This is the 6'8 Paul George build I've been playing on lately, so if you want to see more of how this build can play on the court, I'll leave a link to my last video where I went absolutely crazy in the pro-am with it. But anyway, when it comes to the finishing, I've realized this year that it doesn't make sense to put a lot of attributes into both driving dunk and driving layup. The reason I say that is because in a way you won't be able to reap the full benefits of both, and you'll have to sacrifice elsewhere in your build to have both in the 90 plus range. So what I did with my finishing on this build is I upgraded my driving dunk to a 90, which unlocks the Pro Contact Soft 1, Gold Precision Dunker, and ups a lot of your gather badges like 2-step and bunny to the gold level. Meanwhile, Spin Cycle actually gets all the way up to Hall of Fame. With my layup, I'm going to keep it at a 70 because what I've found is that you don't need a very high layup rating once you're attempting to finish at the rim. I've made a ton of very questionable layups with a sub 50 rating, so the only thing that this low rating really affects is your ability to hit floaters. Next, we're going to bring our standing dunk up to a 35, which is just enough to get the basic standing dunk animations. And this is all that will be going into the finishing on this build. Close shot will get raised up later when we bring up our mid-range. Remember y'all, I'll be using the same exact concepts to craft my build in next year's game. The attributes are likely to change, but the structure of the build will be something like this. If there's anything I've learned in my time playing 2K, is that the first guard build you make has to be an elite shooter. It just makes sense to put as much shooting in the build as possible so you can get the most out of it at the beginning of the game. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to make a shooting guard, and I definitely want to be able to get into that mid-range off rip. Look, I'm not here to play around. This VC is expensive. We got a 93 mid-range, which unlocks Hall of Fame catch and shoot, MIDI Magician, Gold Blinders, Deadeye, Space Creator, Green Machine. Yeah, we're here to be a problem. If you didn't take advantage of the mid-range and some of the more advanced shots this year, I really hope you do next year, because I'm telling you, defenders rarely take away the mid-range in this game. Most people are concerned with stopping the 3 or the dunk. Adding an elite mid-range game to your bag, even if it's just adding a dribble pull-up, is an easy way to score an extra 10 to 12 points a game. Now with the 3 ball, I went with an 86, which unlocks Agent 3 on silver and limitless range on bronze. In my opinion, these shooting splits are the best values for both ratings. You get a lot of solid badgings, and shooting will come relatively easy once you learn your jump shot. 86 is more than enough in this year's game to be knocked down from outside the arc, and with that silver Agent 3, you'll be able to put your opponents in the mix and shoot off the dribble at a high clip. And don't forget about your step backs too, those are also a very viable option. Lastly, free throws going up to a 90. Now I don't know who it was that asked Mike Wang about the free throws in the Discord Q&A, but going with a high free throw is just a safe bet so that if you get sent to the line, you got a better chance at adding some free points to your totals. It's a cheap upgrade and can add some more points, so why not? With access to stats and badges like these, you've effectively made an elite shot creator on all 3 levels. If you get dotted, be ready to let it fly. Moving on to the playmaking, let's start with the pass accuracy. Remember, we're making a build that can play the role of a secondary ball handler, so you gotta be able to make a few reads and be willing to throw some scary passes to keep the defense honest. I went with a 77 rating to unlock the Needle Threader badge on bronze. Now to me, this 77 rating feels way quicker than a 75, which is what I typically went with on my other builds this year. Even though you unlock some basic pass styles at 75, I like to use none. I'm not going to say that I'm the greatest passer in the world, or that I make every correct read, but what I can say in my experience No pass style gets the ball off quicker and is more versatile than the other lower rated pass styles, being John Morant and Domantas Sabonis. Now with the ball handling rating, I got myself an 85. Now, this is one thing that I wish I could have changed. I would have had to make a 6'6 build to make it work, but it's all good. I'm still able to get busy and shake defenders on the perimeter. You can unlock the gold ankle breaker badge with an 85, and you get some great breakdown animations as well. I view 85 as the point where your bag can start looking really glitchy. Lastly, we got our speed with ball up to a 75. Now going into 2K25, I'm going to have to take a good look at all the dribble styles that we can equip, as this is another attribute that will be subject to change, since once again, this only gives you access to the most basic signature dribble styles. As you can tell, the playmaking is very bare bones. I prefer to try to get my shot off in as few moves as possible. If my shot isn't there, I'm a willing passer, so these ratings work perfectly for me. However, one of my goals next year is to become a better dribbler, so we'll see what happens at the beginning. Alright, so I'll admit it, this build is the furthest thing from a lockdown. But if you're confident in your ability to stay in front of a guard, you'll be fine for the most part. I went with an 85 perimeter to get silver clamps and challenger. What I've found is that you don't necessarily need high perimeter if you're not moving around too much. In fact, there's a badge that we'll talk about in the next section that I think does clamps job way better. But moving on, I also have an 85 steel to get silver interceptor, glove, and right stick ripper. Now hear me out, 85 is definitely a great value attribute to have on a build like this, but in all honesty, if you're not going for at least gold in these 3 badges, don't even bother with the steel rating. There is such a massive difference from silver to gold, but all the attributes that I put into offense on this build is the reason why I can't afford to get it up any higher. But the 85 steel can put in a crazy amount of work with good timing, and you'll be able to rip almost anything. And if you're in the lane properly, almost every scary pass will be yours. Next, we got 56 interior. It isn't much, but if I catch myself in the paint with a big man, I'm most definitely getting shacked on.
He needs some
But
milk.
if I manage to maintain good position and don't jump myself out of the play, I can get stops on guards and other builds around my height. Now I don't have any block or rebounding on this build, but next year I'm hoping I'll be able to fit a little bit of block onto the build so I can actually get jump contests on the perimeter. When it comes to the physicals, there isn't too much going on here. Very basic stuff. 81 speed for the speed booster on silver, 73 excel for blow by and fast feet on silver, pretty normal things. 74 strength gives me bulldozer on bronze, but more importantly it gives us immovable enforcer on bronze, and in my opinion immovable enforcer is one of the best defensive badges 2K has ever made, right up there with intimidator. Moving on though, we got 78 vert for contact dunks and gold aerial wizard, and last but not least 99 stamina. Not too much to talk about there. Now looking at everything we got here, this build is min-maxed to the highest degree that I could pull off. Every attribute point matters, as most of them are placed on a badge or animation lock threshold, so I'm squeezing every bit of value I can get out of this build. So my first video on 2K25 will be me creating my build, looking into animations requirements for everything I want, looking at what ratings unlock what badges, and hopefully creating the best day one build that I can use for the whole year. Now if you're still watching up to this point, shout out to you, you're a real one for dealing with me yapping all the way here. But with all that being said, I'm gonna get about y'all ears. Don't forget to leave a like, comment what your first build on 2K25 will be, and sub to the channel if you're new. We on that grab to 500 subs, man. Y'all stay safe in this place. Peace.